My mission today is to ingratiate Jaytoon to people so that they help me flew him out to LA. If I can flew this man out to LA, I'm not in LA by the way. If I can flew this man out to LA so that he can speak at Anime Expo, I will be able to say that we are the reason that Jaytoon was able to go to the biggest anime convention in the world and that he paid for it by himself by making dope content and creating great art and giving the great art to the people and then telling the people where they could get the greatness so that people could buy the greatness so that we could afford to fly this man across the country. Hello. It occurred to me that I ain't hit the share button to you, so now I done hit the share button to you, and now you here. I appreciate your hearing this greatly. Welcome, young Goku. It is good to have you here. Welcome, brethren. It's good to have you here. Yeah, because I was just in here, and I was like, yo, time to ingratiate ourselves to the audience. We love J2, and that's what's up. Welcome.
What's up, bro?
Life is good. How are you?
Everything good. Everything good. I can't complain.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, just tired. What's good? How you doing?
I'm working hard. There's so much stuff to be done. We got DreamCon, like I was studying somebody and they was talking about how you always want to be 1 quarter ahead and a quarter is every 4 months. So whatever you're doing in January is what you're supposed to be doing in May. So we hooked up DreamCon. We're completely set for DreamCon. That was done like 2 weeks ago. So now we working backwards. So now that DreamCon is knocked out, which is the farthest goal. Now we working on BlurredCon, and before BlurredCon, we working on Anime Expo, and before Anime Expo, we working on June 2nd. There's a thing in Texas, and then before June 2nd, there's MomoCon. And so yeah, we are setting ourselves up for all the things that come in the future.
That was a lot. I'm still trying to. That was a lot.
Yeah.
You gonna be traveling to all of them?
Yes.
That's crazy.
That's what we gotta do.
Yeah.
And luckily, having a book makes it so much easier. Because before, I'd have to draw individual drawings. I have to keep drawing individual drawings. But now people be like, "Hey, I want something." I'm just like, "Boom! Here's the book, $10," and then that multiplies. So I think it's really beneficial having a book. But I want to make sure that like I get to keep working on it. I'd be screwed if I just made a book and was done. But luckily, thanks to the internet, you can keep building on the thing that you got and making it how you want it to be.
Okay, that's cool.
Yes, indeed.
So
are you still?
How? Well,
are you still making curls and katanas?
No, Curls and Katanas got a setback. We are actually working on. I have 2 writers right now that I'm looking at to actually work on. All Heroes Must Die. Curls and Katanas was something that me and another writer was working on, but we had to take a step back on that one. Right now I'm still making artwork for Curls and Katana because what girls don't like black girls with katanas? I still might do like t-shirts and stickers for that and all that. But yeah, right now my main focus is working on my main character, Travis.
Beautiful. Can you tell me about him?
The thing I could tell you about Travis is a villain. He is not. I wanted to create a story that had nothing to do, well, not nothing to do with heroes, but I wanted to. It's funny because every villain is a hero to someone if you really think about it. Unless they just causing like complete chaos. Like his whole purpose is to take down corrupted superheroes, but the whole thing is the way he goes about it, killing people. It's not good. So,
I like that.
Yeah, it's still a work in progress. I don't want to give. The problem is I don't want to give too much of the story because I think that the story that I'm creating is very unique and a lot of people haven't seen it from that point of view. So it's like it's really hard for me to talk about it right now until I get all the rights and everything done to it. So I don't want to give out I made that last mistake, making a character and giving out too much information, and I felt like another corporation picked it up, and then it was like, oh, that's my idea. Look at that. So now I'm just being like real secretive. Like I want people to I want to introduce people into the characters. Like I just started drawing Travis more recently. I started doing things with Lord Sketch. We have with his character Kwame, we have a lot of drawings together of them just sparring, just so people can get reacquainted with the character. You know,
I like
so
that.
yeah. I mean, I think the best thing for you to do is to introduce the character, even if they don't have a story. It's crazy that Travis actually has a fan base, even though I don't draw. I haven't like really drawn him in like about a year. I think I post him once or twice, but like for the people that know, they're excited about seeing him again. So I'm excited. I was supposed to post something today, but we already know how I'm just not good at posting.
Hey, it take a village. That's why we here.
Yeah. Um. Other than that, I think everyone's gonna really like the story. I'm really pushing for it to at least have. I wasn't quite sure because I think I want to at least have a one shot with the story. I don't want it to be like a big story that keeps on ongoing, but I want Travis to have different adventures after that. So I think the main story is just going to be a one shot, and then after that, it's just going to be like random stories. So hopefully, I don't know how that's going to go down, but hopefully, I don't know. Maybe a multiverse. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm thinking.
I look forward to seeing what you do. And the beautiful thing about creating characters and creating stories and putting them out into the world, even if you don't give a lot of detail about them, is that people natively connect to archetype and they connect to concepts. And the character design, the way that you do posing, the way that you use lines, it communicates energy and dynamism, and it has this flow to it that I really like. How did that develop? Who were the artists, or what were the shows you were watching that influenced like the way that your drawing has developed over the last couple of decades?
Yeah, yeah. The one thing when it first started, I forgot the original cartoon that inspired me. It was a cartoon about, I think it was an anime, but it was a caveman and his father was the sledgehammer or something like that. I don't remember the anime. It's so old, but it was one of the things that started. And Travis was originally supposed to be the missing link, but then it evolved from there. And what started to it was a video game called No More Heroes, and the hero was named Travis, and I love that concept so much, and I build off of him, like his famous red jacket, and gave Travis the red jacket. One Piece, definitely, because I love the story. I think Travis has a very Luffy type feel when he fights. Um, who else? Actually, something that did inspire me that had nothing to do with anime at all was Travis McCoy from Gym Class Heroes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's very much. If you look at them, if you look at the two, the style, the gauges of my character Travis, it's very much based off of him. Like you could see how all those things influence that character. You know, definitely, I wanted a character that was black. I know I try like I want the comic book to be diverse, but I do want my main character to be black. I just feel like even though we're starting to see more and more characters mainstream that are black, I just feel like I just wanted to add mine into the world. I just wanted to give a little piece of me, and what a lot of it is based off of Travis, and he has another character called Moochie, which I'm not quite sure I want to put as his sister, but that character will be based off my sister. And when I figure out we're gonna fill that in. But that character and that their dynamic will be like a brother and sister role. So I want that character to reflect as much as the things that I enjoy in life and my personal life.
That's beautiful. What were the cartoons that you watched when you were younger that either made you want to draw or made you want to like explore and see who you could be in the world?
The cartoons, I'm not gonna lie, I was a Cartoon Network kid, so a lot of them was like Scooby Doo, a lot of Hanna Barbera. I love Jabba Jaw. I know I'm probably speaking my age and shit when I say this, but Birdman, not about to say Ghostface. What's his name?
Casper?
Space Ghost.
Oh,
Space
Space Ghost.
Ghost. Space Ghost. I love Space Ghost. And his powers are so stupid too. Just press the bands, but I love Space Ghost. What else? It was a funny story because I know I wasn't really that big into anime. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of times when I watched Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon when I was younger with my sister, like I did not know that was anime at all. You know, I think Sailor Moon at one point came on USA, and a lot of those cartoons was followed by Fantastic Max. Was it no, not Fantastic Max. Mighty Max. The boy, he had the cap that he threw. So a lot of those cartoons inspired me when I was younger.
That's
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, Johnny Quest too. I forgot all about Johnny Quest.
Yeah, I love how in that era, like the cartoons in like the 80s and early 90s, is they weren't really concerned about keeping kids really safe or like making the adults stupid or whatever,
Yeah,
but they were focused on giving kids adventures and they let you go on the adventures and you had a guiding force. Like Johnny Quest especially, you got him and the black kid and his dad and stuff, and they would
yeah.
just be going into the forest. They'd be shooting AKs. They was getting
Like
things
here's
done.
this AK-47, kid. Go do what you had to do. Like parents was almost their guidance in those old cartoons is very bad. Like everyone forget like Scooby Doo was a bunch of teenagers just running amok. Never went to school at all. This is just running amok doing dumb things. And like everyone was so like we need to trust in these kids to solve this mystery. Grown ass people that can never solve a mystery. And the mystery was always so simple too. Like it was just crazy. I just love Scooby Doo.
As do I.
Mhm.
I love that you could have a story where like the kids have responsibility but not pressure.
Yeah,
I feel like now there's a lot of pressure and expectations that's put onto us, and so we're almost given the expectation to behave like adults without the freedom of adults. And then even becoming adults, we might stifle our freedom. So I think it was really good they created media that encouraged people to like enjoy freedom, but balance that freedom with the responsibility inside of the adventure, where you got to be responsible inside the adventure so you don't die, but the adventure allows you to explore.
yeah. It should have been a lot of situations when those kids died. I, I, I don't think anything is more dangerous than Pokemon.
You ever watch What's New Scooby Doo, the movie where they went to like Hawaii?
Yeah.
Bro, Velma took some dental floss. She took dental floss and threw it across the cape and swung on it like a Spider-Man rope.
And see, and those are the messages that we give to kids that you can do anything with dental floss, but floss your teeth. Nah, I think the only thing that's more bizarre than Scooby Doo doing things like that is JoJo Bizarre Adventure. Like I don't think they do things that, and then they explain it too in the craziest way how they can escape. I think JoJo was fighting on some type of building, and he had a scarf, and he wrapped it around like these nails that was on the floor and stuff, and the character knocked him off. And you thought he was dead, but for some reason they did the recap, and you could see like the string from the scarf was wrapped around, and he was holding on to it, and he filled it with like mana, whatever they fill it up with, and he was holding on to the top. I was like, that is some bullshit. That nigga should have died. Like the way they escape out of near death, like nah, I'm like it's some bullshit. But you know that's what we watch anime for, like the bullshit. You already know like a character can get hit right dead in the middle of his chest, and because he's the main character, he's going to survive, even though his major arteries is all there. But it's entertainment, and I think that's one of the reasons why I love cartoons. Is it can be so exaggerated and still make sense at the same time.
I agree. And I think that that piece of cartoons is why the anime wave is the way that it is. Because in the West now, really since like right after the era of Billy and Mandy, where it flipped to like Flapjack and Chowder and stuff. Even though I love Chowder,
Yeah.
I love Chowder. But like right after the Chowder era, it seemed like cartoons got really, really, really stupid, and I don't know why. And even like Gravity Falls, for instance, is like a really smart show. It's in the same family as like Rick and Morty and stuff. But I don't know why they made the cartoons so stupid. And I feel like the sense of adventure might not have left, but I think people took the people that were making the cartoons took themselves really seriously while allowing a lot of really stupid stuff to happen, and it didn't really gel. Like it didn't really mix that well. And I feel a lot of people that still wanted that adventure and that responsibility and that mystery and that fantasy found anime, and that's why a lot of people are hooked on the anime. Why do you think they made that shift in cartoons after the Flapjack and like Chowder era?
I really think it was more of money. Less, you don't have to worry about so much with writers and all that stuff when you can just have them do something stupid repeatedly over and over and over again. Um, I think it's the same thing that shifts to social media. Something short attention spans. Just get them to do something to catch them for the moment and repeat it over and over again. And I think that's the reason why a lot of Western cartoons just lost their stories. I think you said right after Chowder, I think the last time I saw a cartoon that was on Cartoon Network that had real meaning and the story behind it was Steven Universe. And I felt like that story was so deep. And to me, it started off as this fat chubby kid that was just doing dumb things. And then they just switched it and like it had like a whole deeper meaning after that. And then after that, I'm like, when they ended it, I haven't seen a cartoon like that had a storyline in years. I don't know. Maybe you know the crazy thing, I never watched Craig of the Creek. And I wanted to watch it because I heard it was such a good show, but I don't know if it had a storyline or not.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
A lot of the Cartoon Network shows around the time of Steven Universe feel like samey. You know about the whole like Cal Art style thing?
No.
The Cal Art style, like where everybody's head is shaped like a D.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a school called Cal Arts that a lot of the like industry people go to, and it just feels so samey now. Like that era, a lot of stuff seems so similar that I don't really want to watch it because in my memory, because it's so similar. I feel like I'll mix it up with other things that already exist. A lot of people speak really, really highly of Steven Universe in the world building and the fantasy and like the characters and stuff. What about it jumps out to you? At what point did you get connected to the story of it?
I think when I got connected to the story is when I found out Stephen, like how Stephen was made, like his mother giving up her physical body for him to survive, and to find out that he had all this drama that was left behind on his mother, and no one gave him no real explanation about what he was, and even till the very end, I'm not trying to give away the story, he found out what he was even a lie about that, because he was supposed to be a rose quartz, just to find out that he was a diamond, which was like one of the highest things, and like everything was a lie. Like everyone like basically lied to this boy, and like everyone put this responsibility on him. And then not only that, you find out that all the other characters have all these other deep problems, and I haven't seen story building like that in a long time, and like in Western cartoons. Like I know a lot of people disagreed with it because how basically the Crystal Gems was like a woman race, and basically I guess their definition of love and all that. You know, most people didn't like the LBGTQ movement that the cartoon kind of gave off. I mean, it did give off that movement, but I felt like it was cool. Like I asked my nephew how did he feel about it because he was a younger person, and he didn't think anything of it. He just liked it just because it was a cartoon. I don't think I think it showed people how to love each other differently and different aspects of love without really saying it. Like it was like they was aliens, but it showed that people can love like that too. And I think it was subtle, and I thought it was nice. It was a nice story to me. Um, yeah, and it just was one of those deep things because it not only hit on that, it also hit on like being different and accepting yourself in so many other ways. And it really focused on people like abandonment issues and like dealing with parents and parents not being able to raise their children correctly and what happens when those it was like so many subjects that you can pull from that cartoon that it was like damn, this cartoon should have won an award. I don't know if it won awards, but I think it did, but it should have won way more awards if it didn't get anything. But it was a deep cartoon to me.
Hmm, that's really nice. I like that it was able to give that to you, and that it's been able to permeate culture the way that it has. It has a
Yeah.
really strong fan base, and like there's shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender and Steven Universe, and even Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, where they do such a good job of fleshing out the characters and their relationships that
Yeah.
everybody in the fan base don't got the same favorite character, the same favorite episode. But based on what that person likes about the show, you can know a little bit more about them.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I think that's one of the reasons why I also fell in love with One Piece because all the characters have purpose. It's like there's no reason that Oda he draws a character and that character doesn't have purpose. Like every character has purpose, and I think that the world building is amazing because that character cannot be shown like literally in real time, 5 years, but is doing things in the background that is now causing ripple effects that the crew of One Piece have to deal with. And then when they come back into full fold, they're older. It's a great story building. Like I hate to say it, like I love Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball Z sucks at story building. Like their characters get forgotten and have no reason to be there no more. Like I don't even know why they draw Yamcha anymore. Did you just leave him? It was crazy because Yamcha was like my favorite character. If I'm playing Dragon Ball Z, I always pick him, and I just don't know like him. Like I don't know. Like I just want Goku to die and someone else take over the story. Like it's just like Dragon Ball. Like Vegeta deserves his fight. Like I feel like I don't even watch it, but I know that Vegeta just got a power up and then he lost. Like he did all that, got powerful, and then lost. And like Vegeta's just now a glorified cheerleader to Goku, and I hate that. I hate that. Like I hate the story building, and that the fact that the fan base is still so strong and they stand by it. I feel like it's just like a whole bunch of like 40-year-old versions that just hold on to Dragon Ball Z. Like I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Like, like I just don't see the lore in it no more. Like after high school, Dragon Ball Z, I got hyped for Super, but then it's just like Goku just keeps on getting powerful. There's no one else that takes over the mantle. Is like Gohan. I want to see the new movie. I really do want to see the new movie. I couldn't bring myself to do it. Like I know Piccolo got his upgrade, and I was just so hyped for it, and I don't know. I just don't want to fall for it, and then Goku saves the world again, and then I just don't want to be let down with a poor storyline. The fight scenes is amazing though. I just don't want to. I really look forward for storylines.
Yeah, I think the strange thing about anime and the relationship that anime has to the West is that in the West, if the studio wants something to happen, it's happening, especially if it's a movie. And
Yeah.
the studio can be swayed by the people because in America, our capitalism is set up where the more people that respond to something, the more value it has, and that determines the way that things work. But in Japan, major corporations own everything. So
Yeah.
because the major corporations own everything, it don't matter what the heck the people say because the major corporations are so good at marketing in Japan. These people marketed coffee with gum over the course of 30 years. They fed children coffee flavored gum because people in Japan weren't eating coffee. And they was like, yeah, if you put the gum in the anime and then the people in it that are watching the anime eat the gum, and when those people grow up, they'll drink coffee because the coffee taste will remind them of when they was kids watching anime. They did that. Like Japanese marketing is freaking different, bro. And I feel like if Dragon Ball were an American property, they definitely would have passed the mantle on to Gohan or at
Yeah.
least Vegeta or at least Pan. They probably would have had a whole thing with Pan if DBZ was American. But I feel like in Japan, Dragon Ball as an entity is just too strong. And it's that same thing of the gum and the coffee, where you're right. 40-year-old dudes that ain't done nothing with their lives get juiced up by seeing Goku never change. And
Yeah.
Goku been the same since they was 12 years old and trying to figure out what color panties girls were wearing in school. So I think in order to be with people that like grow past that, I think the internet is a beautiful place where the people that are watching right now, they have been watching you for a very, very long time. I'm 22 now. First time I saw your art, I was 15, bro. And then I
That's
met you
crazy.
like last year, and you are the person that you are. Like it's crazy. And there's so much influence. And there's a community that's been built where there is influence. And so if we give the people things to consume, even if it's not our favorite thing, that they remember that. People remember everything that you give them. Even like you were around for the era of Copics. And I want to
Yeah.
ask you about that because thanks to you, I thought that if I had Copics, I would be invincible under the sun and just be magically good at drawing. Can you tell me about how the heck you got introduced to Copic markers?
You know what? It was Prismas. And I guess the same way you was influenced, Action Hank Beard. I think if I'm saying that's right, Action Beard Hank. Ain't yeah. And don't is one more. Paper Frank. I was using Prisma markers and I thought Prisma markers was like the best marker ever. And then I ran across Paper Frank and Paper Frank was coloring and I was like, his markers look like watercolors. Like, how do you do that with those amazing colors? And then I saw Action Beard Hank do a galaxy with these markers. And I could not wrap my mind around how he blended those colors. And I was like, you know what? He gave a tutorial on IG on how to do it, and I could not do it with Prisma markers. I don't know if I had the right markers. I don't know if I went to it, but I went out and bought these markers, and these markers wasn't cheap at all. And it look, to this day, they're like right here, like right next on the sign. I just threw a marker across the room trying to whip these out, but like I still want to use them. I still want to use them. It's just that the problem was technology started to kick in, and I realized that I couldn't do logos and all that stuff with the markers. So I end up just switching over to the iPad. And to this day, I still miss the markers. I look at them every day and say I'm gonna open up a book and color with them. It's I don't know when. I think I did it like 2 years ago. I drew like Bugs Bunny and the Powerpuff Girls and I colored them, and it's still the most amazing feeling. Like you can't get that feeling with digital artwork. It's something about drawing on a piece of paper and inking it. Like I have the Copic markers and pens, like they all sit on the side of me. And even though I didn't haven't touched them in years, like I keep on looking at them and just like, damn, I miss those era. Like I miss that era. And I think Cookie Crumb, is it Crumb is it
Crumbs art?
Crumb Art, yeah. Crumb's Art. Like he's another one that I saw him do Copic marker, but now I'm starting to see him do digital, and I'm like, no, don't fall into the trap. Go back. Like it's not gonna be the same. But I admire him because he still makes his artwork look like it's still done with the Copic markers. And like I was like, damn, that's amazing. Like that's like that's a real cool trick. And the whole thing is someone taught me how to do that too. But I don't know. I'd rather just do it with the marker. I think I'm gonna do a couple of more pieces with the marker.
I look forward to seeing it because with the advancement of technology in relationship to art, if you understand how to use it, you can allow those traditional techniques and those traditional aesthetics to like be used in digital manner. So for example, you know about Metabang?
I heard of Metabang.
Metabang is an app that's for drawing. It's like a free version of Clip Studio basically. And on Metabang, they got this filter you can put on where you can take the white off an image, so you can just leave the black. So you can do an ink drawing and then scan it in, and then you can have only the black. Kind of like with Photoshop. Mm-hmm. And now Photoshop done gotten so crazy that they done put AI, like they've been having AI in Photoshop for years. But the technology is so good now that you can have a problem that like you had with like scanning stuff in for a long time was that the lines wouldn't be clean, they'd be like frizzy basically. Yeah. But now they got it where you can really go in there and you can have that clean transfer directly from the digital, from the traditional to the digital, and you get all that same energy because traditional things have like an energy to them, and you can lose that with the digital because it's sliding all over the screen and you don't get to push in, but you get to maintain that physical energy. And I love like the 90s Image Comics merch and like the 90s like Spider-Man merch where they take like the inked version of the character and the traditionally painted version of the character and do screen prints with it. And luckily now we get to like bring that back because of the way the technology is advanced, where we can use new technology to make stuff that looks like it was made with old technology. Because screen printing has been in woodblock printing, like from Japan, that's been around for so long, and it was really hard to apply to clothes for a long time, and it was really expensive. But now we got access to those, and that's what the next step is. I want to learn how to like do screen printing with like traditionally inked drawings.
Yeah. I think that's something that I would love to do too. Like I really do miss a lot of the traditional artwork and the workspace of it. I think that sometimes my problem is that I've been doing digital for so long that I've been really trying to think that I can go back on a traditional drawing by like tapping 2 times. Like I have those problems. I'll be trying to zoom in on a piece of paper, and it's like I've been spoiled by technology, and I feel like sometimes I lost the basic skills of like it's like I realized like I do a lot of my work on Procreate, and I've been trying to like to move over to Adobe Fresco because they have vectoring on it, and they have like this traditional type of technology that gives you like the watercolors. Like it really bleeds into each other. Like you be moving your iPad around and the watercolors be shifting on the paper. And I was like, damn. I'm like, I mean, it's not really paper, but it's like, damn, like you have like a fan thing to make it dry and all that. And I'm like, that's fire. Like it really like the pencil really moves to like when you're bending the way you do it. If you shade, you know how you the old school way of shading, you turn your pencil to the side and you get it reacts like that. And that's such cool because it's like Adobe Fresco is something I feel like in a few more years, or maybe a year or two, maybe even sooner, that it will replace Procreate. Only it's like they jumped, like they flew before they could ran, like before they ran, which is weird because it's like it has all the great features that Procreate has, like the animation, and it's like way better than Procreate. The animation on Fresco, like you can animate certain sections and keep on doing that and work on a whole moving pieces while altering others or doing other layers, which is fire. Um, but it's like it doesn't have the basic things like the like like the smooth texture, like when you draw, like how Procreate might smooth the line out and help you make crispier lines. Like it doesn't have that. Like it doesn't have the shape tool. I think they just added the shape tool when you draw a circle and then it turns into a perfect circle. Like it doesn't have the dual when you draw on one side and then it pops up on the other. Things like that that make drawing so easy and fun on digital. It doesn't have those things. And it's very much it's like I don't know how they skip those small things and added in all the great features too. So it's like I find myself still going back to Procreate. Like no matter what. I think Procreate is an amazing feature. I think for someone that is just starting out and you don't have a lot of money to spend that $10 on it and get every update, which is an amazing thing. But I think where Adobe Fresco falls at is that you have that monthly payment. And I think that goes it gets added in when you pay for Adobe Illustrator and all that stuff. A lot of people don't want to pay that certain amount of money every month. Um, I say it is a trick to that because I never went to college for it, but I said I was a student, and somehow it went through that I went to one of these colleges, and now I pay like $30 a month for like everything. I have everything, and I only pay $30 a month. And so far, I had it for like almost 4 years. They never kicked me off or anything, as long as I pay for it. But they hit you like it's a telephone bill. You miss one payment, they send like mail to your house, your emails. It's like you skipped a payment on the IRS. Like they're there. Like Adobe is there. They're like, you need to pay this $30 like now. That shit hits you harder than child support. It's like it's there. It's like I'm like, chill, you're not any of these things. Like, why are you worried I didn't pay that $30?
Because it's
But
a technology company. And the
yeah,
beautiful thing about technology companies is that they always want to get better because that's their literal job. But because they technology companies, they can find you and they got all your information because they're not just selling you products, they selling your information to other people and
yeah,
they utilizing your information to make these things better. People that got really clean line work, they're utilizing those persons really clean line work to make your line work cleaner if you ain't got clean line work. People that are really good at figuring out colors and color palettes, they using that. It's an aggregate. It's literally an artificial intelligence. And so all the people that are using it are sending information back to it so that it can get better.
yeah. but they dead ass tell you that too. They don't even try to hide it. They like, yeah, we're using you, and I want you to know that I'm using you. Like I'm here for it. Like okay, but yeah, I think Adobe Fresco. I think if any artist, I love clip art. I love clip art. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely way advanced in Procreate and Adobe Illustrator. It's definitely like the daddy of the house. Like if, but it's 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 completely confusing to me. It's it's like learning Adobe Illustrator and all of them wrapped up in one, and it's like you don't get enough time to learn it with the payment plan. Like I don't think the payment plan is crazy. I think it's like $15, but it's for like the most simplest one. But it's like it has so much going on. Like I need classes. Like I really feel like it's a great thing, and I think professionally I would want to use that more than any one of them. Cause, but it's just not even that. Like they have those dolls. What is it called?
3D model.
The 3D models on there, and they have this thing called forced perspective, which is so crazy that they have it on there, and it helps you with those forced perspective drawings so much. Like even though I still think it has a little bit of work on it, because you might have like your forehand shot, and this other hand might just be like a little bit bigger than necessary. Like you can't like size it down. I wish you can size it down, but I feel like they're gonna fix it once in a while. Like I found a way to work around it because I play on all different um these different art programs because I'm still trying to learn like new ways to push my art. I think I think that that's one of the biggest parts of being an artist. Like, I never set myself with a ceiling, and I keep on pushing because I always don't. I don't want to be stuck drawing the same thing over and over and over again in the same style. I want to keep on progressing myself, but I do realize that hinders me at some time because I think sometimes I need to stick with a certain style and don't change it so completely because I feel like people know my artwork, but then I can go so left because something inspired me, and then it won't be colored the same way like my last artwork was colored. And I'm trying to find something that can identify my artwork that I'm completely happy with, like a style that I'm completely happy with. That even if it grows a little bit and something changes, you can still say like, "Oh, that's Jaytoon's work." You know, I think sometimes I can go from something that's really simple to something like over the top, and I realized that sometimes I need to like calm it down and keep it simple because people like it. I think the more sometimes when you go over the top, sometimes people when there's too much going on with the artwork and all that stuff, people just look at it, they might like it and they keep it pushing. But when something's like really, really simple and then has the message, I think that's what brings more people to artwork. If I mean I could be wrong, but from what I noticed, like sometimes I might just draw a simple drawing and write something funny, and those are the ones that usually gets like all the likes and all the love, and all, especially if it has a message behind it and someone can relate to it.
Mm.
So yeah, that's all the things I know. Yeah, I don't know nothing else.
You know what? It's gonna take about 3 days for me to be able to process that. Cause yeah, you're right. The way that art is received uh, is incalculable. Cause through the internet, an infinite amount of people can reach you, but a limited amount of people are going to engage with you. And you have figured out a way, consciously or unconsciously, to provide a space where people can engage with you through the art that you create, but you've not turned that process of engagement necessarily into a product. And you've always given the option for that process to be aided and for products to be created, but that engagement has always been the focus. And I think it's the greatest strength that you have as a creator is your connection to the people that has been developed over time.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's something I wanted to do. I wanted to show more of my personality this year. I think I started doing like way more podcasts and stuff. Like I think I turned down people repeatedly because I have anxiety where I don't know. Like I like sometimes even like it's easy because I talked to you before. So like even though people like jumping in and out in the conversation, like most times when I talk to like new people, I don't really want to talk. Like I really freeze up on screen, and then everyone's like, "Oh, you have like a wonderful personality. You should show more of it." Like people will get more of your artwork if you show who you are. And I think like at one point I took down pictures of myself and no one knew how I looked. And then I realized like the first time I went to Comic-Con, like everyone stopped me like, "Oh my God, you're Jaytoon." And then like 4 years ago I took all the pictures down and like I mean, due to the mask too that we had to wear, like no one knew me. I think I was with Nurse Becky at one of the Comic Cons and like everyone knew her. And then I was just standing there, like, knowing everyone just walking past me, people just throwing their coats on me and shit. Like, basically, I was nobody. and and then someone asked, they was like, "Who you?" And I was like, "I'm Jaytoon." They're like, "Oh, I love your artwork," and I was like, "Oh, thank you." They're like, "I had no idea who you look like." It's like it was it was one of those moments like, damn, maybe if I would have made myself more known, or like maybe if I would talk more, or maybe if I come on the camera. I think that's like one of my biggest battles right now. Like even with like talking to my girl, like I always say that I'm gonna make a video, and I do not make a video at all, and I make 1,000 excuses, and I just won't make a video. Like I want to teach people so much with the artwork and stuff, but I've been trying to find out ways to hide behind the camera and still teach people things. Like I feel like a lot of times I watch these videos and people don't like. My problem is I feel like a lot of people that's making content for, not all of them, I'm just saying some of them, they just do this lazy thing where they give out like the easiest information because they want you to pay for it, which is not such a bad thing. But it's like I feel like even if you give them good information, people will still come to you and pay you for everything else too. I just feel like a lot of them do it, and then like it's so many websites. I mean, like IG pages and Twitter pages that I feel like the person behind it is not an artist. Like I feel like they just steal other people's ideas and just post them just so you can go to their page. And it's like I don't want that. Like I want people to know, like, hey, I'm learning with you, and we can go on this experience together. Like if you look at my bookshelves, it's like it's filled with books and stuff, and I'm just like, maybe I should give a lesson out, and we can do the lesson together. Like I'm learning, you're learning, we're learning together. Let's do this lesson together. And then, and I think it shouldn't be shameful that you're still learning something as an artist. I feel like you can always learn something. And I think everyone wants to be this master. And I feel like this is a trade that you can't be a master in. Like, I finally, after all these years, got the old saying, a track like a jack of all trades is better, something better than a master of one or something. And like, I'd rather be a jack of all trades because at least I know I'm good at something instead of just mastering one technique and then being on one trick pony. Like, I like I realized like all these years that my sister can paint, which was amazing to me because I knew she can paint, but it was like something that just came out of nowhere. Like she started painting and like 20 years she haven't painted, and now she's just so amazing at it. And I'll be like, I can paint too. Like I want to do it. Like I want to learn those techniques so I can at least have it underneath my belt. And I think I dabbled in paint for a little bit. I think two people bought paintings from me. It's crazy. I think I sold more paintings than I ever sold like marker artwork. And and I did like really big paintings. If I ever find them again, I'll post them. But and I think that's when I had like out of all my art show, I think I only had like two art shows. But I think the art show with my paintings sold the most and all that. So I think I want to get back in painting, but I don't know. I just want to do as much as possible and give back to the art community as much as possible. Um, yeah, that's all I got to say on that.
Yeah, bro. Every sentence you say is so heavy, and there's it it is a warm feeling to know that you care and that after all this time and all that you've done and all that you were perceived as, that you still have so much that you want to do and so much that you study, and that you're really paying attention to like how you want to do stuff. And it's frustrating in a sense for me to not be able to not be able to help, but to not be able to like make the drastic shift that I desire. Cause the whole reason the website exists and the whole reason why I've been like trying to do all this stuff is cause none of these art accounts are run by artists.
Yeah,
And none of these books that are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars on Kickstarter are made by artists. And all of these black comics that be getting tens of thousands of dollars on Kickstarter and all of these views and stuff, none of them are drawn by black artists. And the conventions, when we go to the conventions, it's like 5 black people in the convention, 3 black people in the convention. And then in the nerd parties, you can't really sell art like that most of the time because people came there to party. They
yeah.
ain't care to buy art. So it's a tricky endeavor. And I wish I could be in a position to just be like, yo, I have money. I have a team of people that can make media. Let's go make this media and we'll post it to YouTube and get all these views and we good. But I keep running into this wall of freaking bread. This bread is like a boss in a video game. And like all the stuff from life, like all the like food and rent and advertising space and stuff, all that is like mini bosses that just have to be knocked out. And I feel like once that's conquered, there's so much cool stuff that can be done. Because you know Proco on YouTube?
No, I don't.
Proco is a YouTuber. He do art and he be showing people how to draw like classically and stuff, how to draw skulls. But like a couple years ago, he started expanding, and instead of going from just classical stuff and realism and shading and stuff, instead he started focusing on style. And the internet prioritizes style over classical realism and stuff because everybody can draw a sphere with some shading. But to be able to make that sphere how you want and to express yourself through it and use that expression in your character to connect with other people's expression of themselves, there's magic in that. And I want to be able to do that, or I want to, but as I learned how bread works and how it cycles and why things are the way that they are, my desire to be in the artistic realm and even my desire to create art wanes so much that I feel like I'm not the person to do that, but I want to like help the people that are here to do that. And now I'm looking for the people that want to do that. In the meantime, filling in that position so that that person can be found and there's not no momentum. What do you think, from your experience, is the best way that the people can be given media and the people can give so much value that sustainably art can be shared and crafted and elevated throughout time?
I would say technology is one of the best ways. I really contemplated on a long time, like making our own, like basically just redoing Instagram over like how it used to be, and maybe keeping it black owned and all that stuff. I'm not saying like ignore every other race or anything like that, like, but just keeping it to ourselves, building something of our own. The problem is we have nothing of our own, and it starts from the very like the core. I think that our problem is that every time something starts making money for us, we sell it off to a big corporation, and then we have nothing. And then it's like someone else starts off, and these big corporations come wanting to buy it from us. And if someone wants to buy it from us, we have to realize that's our power, and we can't sell it off. And I know individually you can't tell someone what to do and all that stuff, but it's like that's the problem. Like every time we start something, every time we get real big, like I applaud people like Black Sands, and I don't know. Do you know Black Sands?
I do. He is the reason
Yeah.
that I don't do much stuff with people my age, because he told me that people my age, I was like 16,
Mm-hmm.
17, and he was like, yeah, stop. He was like, I know you do a lot of stuff with a bunch of cool young people. They ain't got no money. Focus on families. And then we did a lot of cool stuff. I realized, you know what? That man was on the side.
Yeah. And I love how he keeps it black and he's unapologetic about it. And like I respect it so much. I feel like if we all had that mindset and we all got together and we created something, maybe money wouldn't be a problem. I think sometimes I realize one of my biggest problems working with other Black creators is that sometimes some of us have that whole crab in the barrel feeling where, or they don't want to work with someone because they're not equal to someone else's, like they don't have the same following and all that stuff. And like I realize people hold following like it's a power trip. Like, oh, I got 50,000 followers. Why would I work with you 500 followers? But my thing is, my way of thinking is a lot of times, I always said that when I started Instagram, because I realized when I started Instagram, I reached out to people and they never responded to me. And I said that, well, if I ever get like that and I ever get that big, I'm going to respond to everybody. And the whole thing is, after all these years, I pretty much kept that. I might not answer everyone as fast as I want to, but it's it's about like 10, probably 10 unanswered email like DMs in my thing right now. And I very much like anytime I have time, I I go through my DMs and just answer questions. A lot of times people want to work with you, but the whole thing is it has nothing to do with their followers. It's just that their skills don't really compare to yours. It's like, and I don't ever want to deter them, but it's like our artwork won't match because you don't have the basic of autonomy down yet. Like you don't know how to color real good yet. And it's like, I'll help you, but don't be discouraged because I said no and all that stuff.
Right.
It's like sometimes I don't want to feel like, because art is very, it's very really like who's looking at it. Like I noticed, like I might like Basquiat's artwork. It's very much not like my artwork, but yet I mean, given in different times, but and all that stuff. But he's a way bigger artist. But you can't compare me and his artwork. And a lot of times, I see a lot of new artists that resembles his artwork, but it's all the way of someone who perceives the artwork. So I can't just say to a new artist like your artwork is not good enough to work with me. It just doesn't mesh well with my artwork. And let's be figure out a concept together that we can do so, or you can present me with a concept that like, hey, this will work good with your artwork, then yeah, I will work with you. Or yeah, I don't mind doing like mash up artworks together and all that stuff. I know it's a big thing for a lot of artists to get their name out there now, but I think my biggest problem is that if we all want to succeed, we do have to work with each other. And sometimes people have to put their egos aside and realize, like, hey, this is a young black artist. Let me help them out. Like, it takes nothing to even just give someone words of encouragement, even if you don't do that. Like, I feel like a lot of people see those messages and they just don't answer them.
Hmm.
And I feel like sometimes you never know who's on the other end. You never know who that person knows. And they're like, oh, Dip, that person helped me out. Let me tell my $1 million uncle that this person helped me out. I don't know. I think you got disconnected.
I'm
Oh,
not disconnected. I can
oh,
hear everything you're
oh, okay.
saying. Yeah, I got the battery notification. Luckily, I got the portable on me. We had we renovating a rental property right now in Georgia, so
Oh, okay.
I had to step outside the house because the contractors are here. But I agree, and I appreciate that service to the community and that understanding that there's so much going on that people will have no idea about, and sometimes it's like The Incredibles, where you tell homie like, fly home, buddy, I work alone. And
Yeah.
then he become friend syndrome and jack up your whole existence. Because
Yeah,
you ain't want to let him ride in the car.
exactly. And I, I'd rather make I'd rather make allies than enemies. Like you never know who's gonna be that young artist that you disrespected and because and then come back to you and like automatically take you out. Like you forget, like I understand like art is not like basketball or anything like that. You really just can't be replaced by like a younger artist. But I feel with technology nowadays, it's really like that. If you're not willing to adapt to new ways, them younger artists are gonna be the ones that take you out.
That's a
Like,
fact.
mhm.
And keep it real, bro. I've learned, because even though like I can draw and I took all this time to learn how to draw and stuff, I also learned how to do the AI thing.
Yeah,
And the strange, annoying thing is that like I get paid more to do AI stuff than to draw, and that is used to fuel a lot of the stuff that's being done. And at first, I was like, because I was resistant to it for like a long time, because I was like, no, this is stealing from artists and it's